Security! Remove this welfare case before she steals something! The receptionist's manicured hand swept Maya Johnson's phone off the marble counter. It clattered across Meridian Capital Partners' pristine lobby floor, the screen cracking against Italian stone. Maya watched her daughter's smiling photo fracture behind broken glass. She knelt slowly, gathering the pieces. Her fingertips found the sharp edges while 20-something Jennifer Walsh smirked down at her. Maya stood, cradling her damaged phone. Blood beaded on her thumb. Jennifer's satisfaction glowed like neon. "Oops," the blonde whispered, loud enough for the gathering crowd. 10:47 a.m. 13 minutes until Maya's appointment with the managing partner. The security guard stepped closer, hand hovering near his radio. Have you ever been so underestimated that your next move could destroy a $900 million deal? Jennifer Walsh leaned back in her ergonomic chair, triumph sparkling in her blue eyes. The broken phone lay scattered across marble like digital confetti. Maya's silence only fueled her confidence. "Did everyone see that? She just destroyed company property trying to grab my desk." Jennifer's voice carried across the reception area. "Typical behavior from these people." Maya knelt again, collecting the larger pieces of her shattered screen. Her daughter Zara's photo smiled up from behind spider-webbed glass, the same bright grin that had gotten her through 12 years of single motherhood. A drop of blood from her thumb stained the image. "Ma'am, step away from the debris." Security guard Marcus Torres approached, his bulk casting a shadow over Maya's crouched form. "We'll handle the cleanup." "It's my phone," Maya said quietly. Jennifer's laugh tinkled like an expensive crystal. "Your phone? That looked like a government-issued piece of junk to me. What are you really here for? Food stamps application? Housing assistance?" The lobby audience grew larger. Junior analysts whispered behind designer coffee cups. Someone's iPhone camera flash reflected off the marble walls. Maya noticed but didn't react. She'd learned long ago that survival required choosing battles carefully. Business blogger David Carter positioned himself near the elevator bank, his live stream counter climbing. 47 viewers, 52, 61. His whispered commentary reached his phone's microphone. "Witnessing potential discrimination at Meridian Capital. This woman seems calm despite aggressive treatment." Maya's phone buzzed. The damaged screen was still functional. A text from her babysitter. "Zara asking when you'll pick her up today. Says she has big math test results to share." Maya typed carefully around the cracked glass. "Big meeting today. Might be late, but we'll celebrate tonight." Jennifer craned her neck, reading over Maya's shoulder. "Aw, single mom problems? Can't balance work and kids?" She turned to her colleague, speaking loud enough for the crowd. "They always think they can just show up places without appointments, expecting handouts." Assistant manager Patricia Stone emerged from the elevator bank, her silver hair pulled into a severe bun. Her navy suit screamed authority and old money. She surveyed the scene with the practiced eye of someone who'd managed crises for 30 years. "What's the situation here, Jennifer?" "This woman claims she has a meeting, but she's obviously in the wrong building." Jennifer gestured toward Maya, who now stood with her damaged phone cupped in her palms. "I suggested she try the social services office across the street, but she became aggressive and destroyed property." Patricia's gaze swept over Maya's modest black dress, taking inventory. The outfit was elegant but understated, clearly off the rack rather than bespoke. No visible jewelry except a simple watch partially hidden by her sleeve. "Ma'am, I'm Patricia Stone, assistant manager. I'm sorry, but you're clearly in the wrong building. Meridian Capital Partners handles high-net-worth investment portfolios. We don't provide social services." Maya's composure remained unshaken. "I have an 11 o'clock appointment with James Richardson." Jennifer snorted. "Mr. Richardson doesn't take meetings with walk-ins, especially not—" She let the sentence hang, her meaning crystalline. The crowd pressed closer. David Carter's live stream now showed 128 viewers, comments flooding the screen. This is disgusting. Call them out! Someone help her! Maya checked the time on her cracked phone. 10:52 a.m. 8 minutes. Perhaps you could call his office to confirm, Maya suggested. Patricia's smile was all politeness and zero warmth. Mr. Richardson's schedule is confidential, but I can assure you he doesn't have any appointments with... She paused, choosing her words carefully. With individuals who aren't on our client roster. A second security guard appeared, summoned by Marcus's subtle hand signal. The message was clear. 2 guards for one woman suggested serious concern about her presence. Maya's phone buzzed again. This time, the caller ID made Jennifer lean forward curiously. SEC Commissioner Williams? Maya declined the call without hesitation. SEC? Jennifer's eyes narrowed. Securities and Exchange Commission? Ma'am, impersonating a federal officer is a serious crime. I'm not impersonating anyone, Maya replied. Her LinkedIn notification chimed softly. The preview showed, Director, Financial Oversight Division, 847 new profile views. But the cracked screen made the text barely readable to anyone else. Patricia stepped closer, her voice dropping to a patronizing whisper. Look, I understand you might be going through financial difficulties. Single mothers face tremendous challenges, but showing up at investment firms and claiming connections to federal agencies won't solve your problems. Maya's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Please call James Richardson's office. Ma'am, we're trying to help you here. Marcus moved to Maya's left side while the second guard flanked her right. But you need to leave the premises now. Jennifer's phone captured a quick photo of Maya's damaged device. This is going straight to our security report. Attempted fraud, destruction of property, disturbing the peace. The elevator dinged. More staff emerged for their morning meetings, drawn by the commotion. The circle of spectators widened. Someone whispered, "Is she dangerous?" Maya's handbag, a simple black leather piece that had seen her through job interviews, parent-teacher conferences, and federal depositions, rested against her hip. Inside, her Department of Justice credentials lay next to her daughter's latest school photo and a grocery list that included Celebrate Zara's A+ in Math. 10:56 a.m. 4 minutes. Patricia raised her voice, addressing the crowd as much as Maya. Security, please escort this individual out of the building. Use the service elevator to avoid disrupting our clients. Maya stood slowly. The broken phone pieces rattled softly in her cupped hands like dice waiting to be thrown. I'll wait outside for my meeting, she said. Jennifer's final shot landed with surgical precision. Next time, try the food court downstairs. They're more your speed. Scattered laughter rippled through the crowd. Someone applauded sarcastically. Maya walked toward the elevator bank, her steps measured and deliberate. Security followed close behind, their presence designed to intimidate. David Carter's live stream counter hit 347 viewers. The elevator doors opened. Maya stepped inside and turned to face the lobby. Her eyes found Jennifer, then Patricia, then the crowd of faces, some amused, some uncomfortable, all watching. 10:59 a.m. 1 minute. Maya pulled out her phone and speed-dialed a number. The damaged speaker crackled, but her voice carried clearly across the marble expanse. James, it's Maya. I'm in your lobby. There seems to be some confusion about my appointment. The response echoed through the sudden silence. Maya? What confusion? Send security up immediately. Ms. Johnson is the Department of Justice's lead investigator. She's here about our merger approval. The elevator doors began to close on Jennifer Walsh's horror-stricken face. The elevator doors slid shut with a whisper, but James Richardson's voice still echoed through the lobby speaker system. Jennifer, Patricia, my office, now. And someone get Ms. Johnson up here immediately. Jennifer's face had transformed from smug satisfaction to sheet-white terror in the span of 3 seconds. Her manicured fingers trembled as she fumbled for the phone receiver, accidentally knocking over her coffee mug. Dark liquid spread across her desk, soaking into quarterly reports. "Sir, there was a misunderstanding." Jennifer's voice cracked like an adolescent boy hitting puberty. "Misunderstanding?" Richardson's boom rattled the desk speakers. "You just humiliated a federal investigator on a live stream that now has 400 viewers." David Carter's phone screen showed the climbing numbers: 427, 445, 489. Comments flooded faster than he could read them. Hatch Meridian scandal was already trending locally in Manhattan financial circles. The lobby transformed into a war zone of whispered panic. Senior partner Margaret Townsend stepped off the elevator, took one look at the chaos, and immediately retreated back inside. Junior analyst Kevin Park pulled out his phone, frantically texting his girlfriend who worked at the SEC, "Emergency! Need to know about Maya Johnson DOJ." Patricia Stone stood frozen, her 3 decades of crisis management experience suddenly worthless. She'd handled SEC investigations, congressional inquiries, even a money laundering probe in 2019. But she'd never dealt with a federal investigator being treated like a welfare applicant on social media. The marble floors suddenly felt less like luxury and more like a courtroom where everyone was guilty. Marcus Torres, the security guard, spoke into his radio with the tone of someone realizing his career might be ending. "Control, we have a situation. Need the head of security in the main lobby immediately." "What kind of situation?" crackled the response. Marcus glanced at the growing crowd, at Jennifer's tears, at Patricia's trembling hands. "The kind that makes national news and gets security guards fired." Jennifer's phone buzzed with an incoming call. Her assistant's panicked voice. "Jennifer, my Twitter feed is exploding. There's a video of you, and something about DOJ, and people are saying you physically assaulted a federal agent." "I didn't assault anyone," Jennifer whispered desperately. "I just knocked her phone off the desk." "That's an assault on a federal employee, Jenny. That's a felony." The blood drained from Jennifer's already pale face. Assault charges against federal employees carried mandatory minimums of up to 20 years. Her law degree from Columbia, her Manhattan apartment, her entire carefully constructed life all suddenly felt like sandcastles at high tide. David Carter's live stream had evolved into citizen journalism. He provided real-time commentary while walking closer to Jennifer's desk. The receptionist who broke the investigator's phone appears to be having what looks like a complete breakdown. Security guards are conferring near the elevator bank, looking equally panicked. This corporate lobby has become ground zero for what might be the biggest discrimination scandal in Manhattan financial history. His viewer count hit 723, then 856. The numbers climbed like stock prices in a bull market. 3 more phones appeared in the crowd, employees realizing they were witnessing career-ending history. The lobby filled with the soft sound of fingers typing urgent messages, lawyers being called, LinkedIn profiles being updated, resumes being dusted off. Patricia finally found her voice, addressing the crowd. "Everyone return to your offices immediately. This situation is under control." But nothing was under control. 3 junior analysts had already texted their contacts at Bloomberg, Reuters, and the Wall Street Journal. Investment banker Carol Liu was on the phone with her headhunter, whispering, "I need to get out of Meridian immediately. How fast can you find me something?" The story was metastasizing across financial social networks faster than Patricia could contain it. Jennifer's phone rang again. This time, the caller ID showed her mother's number. Her heart sank further. If her mother was calling at 11 a.m. on a weekday from Greenwich, Connecticut, the story had reached suburban social circles. "Jenny, are you on the news? Mrs. Henderson just called and said there's a video of you on Twitter attacking some government woman." Jennifer ended the call without answering. Her student loan payments of $2,847 per month suddenly felt impossible. Her rent-controlled apartment lease wouldn't protect her from a federal criminal record. 11:03 a.m. 3 minutes past Maya's original appointment time. The elevator dinged again. James Richardson's personal assistant, Sarah Kim, emerged with the expression of someone about to deliver a terminal diagnosis. Her normally perfect composure had cracked around the edges like expensive porcelain. "Ms. Stone, Mr. Richardson needs you upstairs immediately, and Jennifer—" Sarah's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. "Pack your desk. Security will escort you out in 10 minutes. Jennifer's sob echoed across the marble. "Sarah, please, I have student loans. My rent is due next week. I didn't know she was federal." She looked like... Like what, Jennifer? Like she didn't belong here because she's black? Because she's a single mother? Sarah's voice cut like surgical steel. "Our legal department is already drafting your termination paperwork, and they're recommending we cooperate fully with any federal charges." The elevator opened again. This time, Head of Security Thomas Wright emerged with 2 additional guards. His expression suggested someone preparing for siege warfare. "Clear this lobby, now! Media lockdown in effect." Too late. A reporter from Financial News Network had already entered through the street-level entrance, following the trending hashtags. Her camera operator trailed behind, professional equipment ready to broadcast. "This is Rebecca Martinez, FNN, reporting from the lobby of Meridian Capital Partners, where a federal investigation may have been compromised by alleged racial discrimination and assault on a Department of Justice official." The corporate nightmare was going live on cable television. Patricia grabbed Jennifer's arm, pulling her toward the elevator. "Move, now, before this becomes a federal incident." "It already is a federal incident," Marcus Torres muttered into his radio. David Carter's live stream had attracted viewers from across the financial district. Comments poured in from Goldman Sachs employees, JP Morgan analysts, even Federal Reserve staff. "This is why we need diversity training. That receptionist just ended her career. DOJ doesn't forget this stuff." The viewer count hit 1,247. Upstairs, Maya sat in Richardson's office, her damaged phone placed carefully on his mahogany desk. The managing partner, 50-something, silver-haired, usually unflappable, paced behind his chair like a caged predator facing extinction. "Ms. Johnson, I cannot apologize enough for what happened downstairs. Our staff's behavior was inexcusable, unprofessional, and—" Maya raised her hand gently. "Mr. Richardson, let's focus on why I'm here. The Meridian-Goldman-Sterling merger. My recommendation is due to the Federal Trade Commission in 89 minutes. Richardson's pacing stopped. The $900 million transaction that would save 2,100 jobs, create the largest minority-focused investment fund in American history, and secure his own legacy hung in the balance like a sword over his head. And Maya Johnson, the single mother who'd just been humiliated, assaulted, and discriminated against on live stream, held all the cards. Her cracked phone buzzed with a text from Zara. "Mom, kids at school saw a video of you online. You're famous. Are you okay? Love you." Maya smiled for the first time that morning. Her daughter's math test results would have to wait. Right now, she had a $900 million merger to evaluate. And after what happened in the lobby, her evaluation criteria had just become significantly more stringent. Richardson cleared his throat nervously. "Ms. Johnson, about the merger approval." Maya looked up from her phone, her expression unreadable as ancient stone. "What about your company culture, Mr. Richardson? Because federal regulations require comprehensive character assessments for major financial transactions." The question hung in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre. Maya's fingers moved across her cracked phone screen with surgical precision. Each tap opened another layer of federal authority that made Richardson's face grow paler by the second. "Mr. Richardson, before we discuss your merger, let me clarify exactly who you're dealing with." Maya's voice remained calm as mountain snow. She placed her Department of Justice credentials on his mahogany desk like playing cards in a high-stakes poker game. The badge gleamed under Richardson's office lights. Maya C. Johnson, Senior Investigator, Financial Crimes Enforcement Division. Below it, her business card revealed the full scope of her power. Corporate Fraud Unit, Merger Oversight Authority. Richardson sank into his leather chair as if his bones had turned to water. Jesus Christ. Maya, I had no idea Jennifer would... Your staff assumed I was here for welfare assistance. Maya's tone could have frozen champagne. They physically destroyed my phone, called me a welfare case, suggested I use the service elevator, and recommended I try the food court because it was more my speed. She scrolled through her damaged device, each notification revealing another layer of federal connections. A text from SEC Commissioner Williams. Maya, need your Meridian assessment ASAP, Goldman board meeting at 2 p.m. Another from White House Economic Advisor Carter. $900 deal awaiting your clearance for presidential briefing. A third message from Federal Judge Martinez. Saw the video. This requires immediate federal attention. Richardson's hands shook as he poured water from a crystal pitcher. The irony wasn't lost on him. 20 minutes ago, his receptionist had mocked Maya's government-issued junk phone. Now that same device held the power to destroy his company's future. Maya, you have to understand, Jennifer doesn't represent our values. She's young, inexperienced. She's a Columbia Law graduate who called a federal investigator a theft risk on live stream that now has 2,147 viewers. Maya opened her tablet, revealing 6 months of meticulous investigation files. But Jennifer Walsh isn't why I'm here, James. The documents spread across Richardson's desk told a devastating story. Spreadsheets showing Meridian's hiring patterns. 847 professional hires in 2 years, only 23 were black women. Email chains where HR systematically rejected urban-sounding names. Performance reviews that consistently rated minority employees as not quite ready for promotion despite superior qualifications. One particularly damning email thread showed Patricia Stone writing, "We need to maintain our sophisticated client image. Some candidates, while qualified, don't fit our aesthetic." Richardson's water glass trembled against his lips. Maya, those numbers are taken out of context. Context? Maya's eyebrow arched with lethal precision. The context is that your company has been under federal observation for 18 months. Today's lobby incident was the final data point in a pattern of institutional discrimination that directly impacts your merger eligibility. Maya's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID Sec Commissioner Williams and answered on speaker. Commissioner Williams, yes, I'm at Meridian now. No, sir, the assessment isn't complete. There have been significant cultural issues that require additional evaluation. Yes, sir, I understand Goldman's board is waiting. They may need to wait longer. Richardson watched Maya's side of the conversation like a man watching his execution orders being signed. Every pause, every "I see," every "yes, Commissioner," felt like nails in his company's coffin. Commissioner, you should know that Meridian staff physically assaulted me this morning. Destroyed government property. The incident is documented on livestream. Yes, sir, I'll include it in my federal report. No, sir, I don't think this reflects well on their corporate character assessment. Maya ended the call and looked directly into Richardson's eyes. The Federal Trade Commission has been waiting for my recommendation since 9 a.m. I've been investigating Meridian for 6 months, James. 6 months of reviewing your hiring practices, your employee satisfaction surveys, your customer complaint patterns, your board composition, your vendor selection criteria. She pulled up another document on her tablet. Did you know that 73% of discrimination complaints filed against major investment firms in the Northeast cite Meridian as having the worst reputation for minority treatment? Your company is literally the industry standard for what not to do. Maya scrolled to another page. Here's your customer demographic data. Out of 12,000 high-net-worth clients, only 180 are black. That's 1.5% in a city that's 24% black. Your marketing materials show exclusively white families. Your corporate events are held at clubs with documented histories of racial exclusion. Richardson's face had moved beyond pale to a sickly gray. Maya, please. This merger isn't just about Meridian. It's about 2,100 jobs. It's about creating the largest minority-focused investment fund in American history. Goldman Sterling has committed $900 million specifically to serve underrepresented communities. You can't let Jennifer's stupidity destroy something that will help thousands of families. Maya's expression didn't change. You're absolutely right, James. This merger would help thousands of families. Families like mine, single mothers trying to build wealth, minorities seeking investment opportunities, communities that traditional Wall Street has ignored for decades. She stood and walked to Richardson's window, looking down at the Manhattan streets where her daughter would someday work. But here's what you fundamentally don't understand. Those same families you claim to want to help? Your staff just treated their federal representative like a criminal threat. The weight of Maya's words settled over Richardson's office like fog. Outside, construction crews worked on another gleaming tower, probably another financial firm that would replicate the same exclusionary practices. Maya, what do you need? What can we do to fix this? I'll fire Jennifer immediately, Patricia too if necessary. We'll implement whatever training you require. Maya returned to her chair, her movements deliberate and controlled. What you can do, James, is listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. She opened a new document on her tablet, one that made Richardson's breath catch in his throat. The header read, Federal Trade Commission, Merger Recommendation Report, Confidential, Meridian Capital Partners. I have 3 options for my recommendation, James. Option 1, full approval with no conditions. Your merger closes next week. Goldman Sterling transfers $900 million. Your stock price jumps 40%, and everyone celebrates with champagne. Richardson leaned forward hopefully. Option 2, conditional approval with comprehensive federal oversight. The merger proceeds, but with mandatory diversity requirements, regular federal audits, a $2 million compliance fund, quarterly progress reports, and external diversity consultants monitoring every hire for the next 3 years. Richardson nodded eagerly. Yes, we can absolutely work with that. Whatever it takes. Maya's finger hovered over her tablet screen like a judge's gavel. Option 3, full federal investigation and immediate merger suspension. The DOJ launches a comprehensive discrimination probe. The SEC freezes all Meridian assets pending criminal review. Goldman Sterling walks away to protect their reputation, and your company becomes a federal case study in corporate discrimination. The color drained completely from Richardson's face. Option 3 meant bankruptcy, criminal charges, congressional hearings, and the complete destruction of his 30-year career. Maya, please. Which option I choose depends entirely on what happens in the next 37 minutes. Maya checked her cracked phone, the same device Jennifer had destroyed in contempt. Because at 12:30 p.m., I submitted my final recommendation to the Federal Trade Commission. And James? She leaned forward, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. I'm a single mother who was just humiliated, assaulted, and discriminated against by your staff on a live stream that's approaching 3,000 viewers. My 12-year-old daughter, Zara, saw her mother treated like garbage by people who probably spend on lunch what we budget for groceries. Maya's tablet chimed with another high-priority message from Treasury Secretary Johnson. Maya, White House briefing moved to 3 p.m. I need a Meridian decision immediately. Richardson followed her gaze to the screen. Even the White House was now waiting on the recommendation from the woman his staff had tried to escort out through the service elevator. Maya smiled, but this smile held no warmth, only the quiet satisfaction of justice finally finding its balance point. The single mother your staff mocked as a welfare case? She's about to decide whether your company survives the next 24 hours. Richardson's trembling fingers stabbed at his phone's speed dial. Within 90 seconds, Meridian's entire C-suite had assembled in his office like defendants awaiting sentencing. CEO Michael Stromberg burst through the door first, his Armani suit wrinkled from sprinting up 2 flights of stairs when the elevator took too long. What the hell is happening downstairs? Security says we're on media lockdown, and my assistant just showed me a live stream with 3,200 viewers watching our receptionist having a breakdown. CFO Sarah Hayes followed, clutching her tablet showing Meridian's stock price dropping in real time. James, Goldman's board is calling every 10 minutes. They're seeing the social media posts. Meridian scandal is trending in 3 cities. Our share price has dropped 12% in 40 minutes. General Counsel Robert Chang entered last, already reviewing legal documents on his phone. We have exposure on multiple fronts: discrimination, assault on federal property, potential civil rights violations. This could trigger congressional oversight hearings within weeks. Maya remained seated calmly as the executives arranged themselves around Richardson's conference table, like generals planning a desperate last stand. Her cracked phone lay in front of her, a monument to their company's institutional failures. "Gentlemen, Ms. Hayes, meet Maya Johnson." Richardson's voice cracked slightly. "Senior Investigator, Department of Justice Financial Crimes Division. She's here to make the final recommendation on our Goldman-Sterling merger." The temperature in the room dropped perceptibly. Stromberg's confident swagger evaporated like morning mist. Hayes's fingers stopped their nervous tablet tapping. Chang's legal documents suddenly felt inadequate against federal authority. Maya opened her tablet and displayed the merger documentation with clinical precision. "Let me explain the financial reality you're facing. Meridian Capital Partners currently manages $47.3 billion in assets across 12,000 high-net-worth clients. The proposed Goldman-Sterling acquisition is valued at $900 million cash, plus $200 million in stock options, creating a combined entity managing $73.8 billion. She scrolled to the next screen, revealing employment impact data. This merger would create 2,400 direct jobs across 8 states: New York, California, Texas, Florida, Illinois, Massachusetts, Georgia, and Washington. An additional 800 contractor positions would be established within the first year. Average salary for new positions, $127,000 annually. Stromberg leaned forward, seeing hope flicker like candlelight in a storm. "Exactly, Ms. Johnson. This deal isn't just about Meridian's profits. It's about economic justice, about creating wealth-building opportunities for underserved communities nationwide." Maya's expression remained neutral as Arctic ice. "Mr. Stromberg, your company's discrimination patterns suggest you're poorly equipped to serve those communities. Should I detail your track record with mathematical precision?" She pulled up internal Meridian documents that made the executives squirm like insects under laboratory lights. Email from HR Director Lisa Park, dated March 15th. "We need to be careful about candidates from certain neighborhoods. Our clients expect a particular aesthetic." Email from Hiring Manager Tom Wilson. "This resume looks strong, but the name sounds urban. Let's keep looking for better cultural fits." Maya advanced to more damaging communications. Email from Patricia Stone to Jennifer Walsh. "Remember, we're the face of sophisticated investment management. Some applicants, while technically qualified, don't project the image our clients expect." Translation: racial exclusion disguised as brand management. Chang cleared his throat nervously, his Harvard law training failing him. "Ms. Johnson, those emails represent individual opinions, not official corporate policy." "Individual opinions?" Maya's voice could have cut industrial diamond. "Mr. Chang, I have 847 similar communications spanning 18 months. Your individual opinions constitute a systematic pattern of institutional discrimination documented across all departments." She advanced to financial data that made Hayes physically wince. "Federal law requires comprehensive character assessments for mergers exceeding $500 million. Companies with documented discrimination records face automatic enhanced scrutiny lasting up to 36 months. My unit has blocked 12 major transactions in the past 2 years based solely on corporate culture failures. Maya displayed a comparison chart showing blocked mergers. Hartwell Financial, $1.2 billion merger blocked for age discrimination. Sterling Associates, $750 million acquisition canceled for gender bias. Morrison Capital, $2.1 billion transaction suspended indefinitely for racial discrimination. Each company's stock price fell an average of 34% following our negative recommendations. The executives absorbed this information like passengers watching their life rafts disappear. Their carefully constructed defense was crumbling under Maya's methodical presentation of evidence. Stromberg's desperation became palpable, sweat beading on his forehead despite the office air conditioning. Ms. Johnson, please understand the broader economic implications. Goldman Sterling specifically chose Meridian because of our stated commitment to diversity initiatives. We've invested $12 million in comprehensive bias training programs over 18 months. Maya pulled up training records that told a starkly different story. Your comprehensive bias training shows 34% attendance rates among senior staff, with C-suite executives consistently absent. Post-training evaluations indicate no measurable behavior changes among participants. Most damaging, 3 separate discrimination complaints were filed during the training period itself. She scrolled to attendance records. Michael Stromberg attended 0 of 8 mandatory sessions. Sarah Hayes attended 1 session, left early. Robert Chang attended 2 sessions, spent both reviewing legal documents on his phone instead of participating. The executives exchanged panicked glances like drowning swimmers watching rescue boats sail away. Their carefully constructed defense was collapsing under documentary evidence. Here's your precise legal framework, Maya continued, addressing Chang directly with laser focus. The Department of Justice has absolute veto authority over mergers exceeding $500 million under the Corporate Character Assessment Act of 2023. My recommendation carries an 89% approval rate with the Federal Trade Commission over the past 3 years. She displayed a new document that made Richardson grab his chest as if experiencing cardiac arrest. Additionally, companies found guilty of federal discrimination violations face automatic asset freezes, criminal penalties ranging from $10 million to $50 million, and prohibition from future mergers for 5 to 10 years, depending on severity. Maya opened another screen showing recent enforcement actions. Last month, Blackstone Financial paid $23 million in discrimination penalties and accepted a 5-year merger prohibition. Their CEO resigned in disgrace. Their stock price hasn't recovered. Hayes found her voice, though it trembled like autumn leaves. What are our specific options, Ms. Johnson? What exactly does the DOJ require for approval? Maya stood and walked to Richardson's window, looking down at the street where protesters had begun gathering word of the discrimination incident had spread beyond social media into physical demonstration. Signs read, "Justice for Maya," and "End Wall Street Racism." Your options depend entirely on your willingness to implement genuine systemic change, not cosmetic adjustments designed to fool federal oversight, Maya said, her back to the terrified executives. She returned to the table and opened a comprehensive reform document spanning 47 pages. Option 1. Immediate actions within 24 hours. Jennifer Walsh terminated for cause with no severance package and negative employment references. Patricia Stone suspended without pay pending federal investigation. All lobby and security staff complete 40 hours of bias training with external facilitators approved by the Department of Justice. The executives nodded eagerly, seeing these as manageable sacrifices to preserve the merger. Option 2. Systematic reforms within 30 days. Third-party audit of all hiring practices conducted by former EEOC investigators with federal security clearances. Anonymous discrimination reporting app with direct escalation to Federal Oversight Board. Quarterly diversity metrics published publicly with federal verification and penalty clauses for non-compliance. Stromberg looked less comfortable but still nodded desperately. We can implement those changes immediately. Maya's expression hardened like cooling steel. Option 3. Financial accountability measures. $500,000 victim compensation fund administered by federal trustees. External diversity consultant hired for 3-year contract at $300,000 annually plus performance bonuses. Chief Diversity Officer position created at C-suite level with federal reporting requirements and congressional testimony obligations. Chang started calculating legal costs in his head, his face growing pale as Manhattan snow. Ms. Johnson, shareholders will revolt over these expenses. The board will demand explanations. Mr. Chang, your shareholders should have considered discrimination costs before allowing toxic corporate culture to flourish unchecked for years, Maya replied with the weight of federal authority. But we're not finished with the requirements. She displayed financial penalties that made Hayes gasp audibly and clutch her chest. Option 4. Enhanced federal oversight for the merged entity. Combined company operates under direct DOJ supervision for 3 years minimum. Every hire, promotion, and termination requires federal pre-approval. Monthly compliance reports submitted to Treasury Department. Annual congressional testimony required from all C-suite executives. Richardson loosened his tie, struggling to breathe normally. Maya, these requirements would completely cripple our operational flexibility. We'd be operating like a government agency. Your operational flexibility led to federal investigators being treated like criminals in your lobby, Maya replied with ice-cold precision. Flexibility is earned through demonstrated institutional change, not promised through corporate press releases. Her phone buzzed with an urgent message from Goldman Sterling CEO Jennifer Park. Maya, our board is reconsidering the merger based on social media reports and client concerns. Need your recommendation within the hour, or we're walking away. Maya showed the message to the assembled executives, watching their faces drain of remaining color. Goldman Sterling is having serious second thoughts. Your discrimination scandal is becoming their reputational liability. Their clients are threatening to withdraw investments. Stromberg's voice cracked with raw desperation. What do you need from us right now? Just tell us exactly what you need to save this deal and 2,400 jobs. Maya checked her cracked phone, the same device that had triggered this morning's humiliation and corporate meltdown. I need to sign commitment letters to all reform requirements with federal notarization. I need public acknowledgement of systematic discrimination failures broadcast on your corporate website and social media. I need detailed implementation timelines with federal checkpoints and penalty clauses. She pulled up her final document, the Federal Trade Commission recommendation form that would determine Meridian's survival. Most importantly, I need to believe that the company seeking to manage minority wealth actually respects minority representatives. Chang leaned forward, his lawyer instincts sensing final negotiation opportunity. Ms. Johnson, what if we agree to every single requirement without modification? Would that guarantee merger approval? Maya's finger hovered over her tablet, poised to submit the recommendation that would determine whether 2,400 families kept their jobs. Mr. Chang, 37 minutes ago, your staff assumed I was here for food stamps. They destroyed federal property. They live-streamed discrimination against a DOJ investigator to thousands of viewers. She looked each executive directly in the eye with surgical precision. Your guarantee depends on convincing me that fundamental institutional change is actually possible. Because the single mother your employees mocked and humiliated? She's about to decide whether those 2,400 families have jobs next month. The office fell completely silent, except for the distant sound of protesters chanting outside Richardson's window. Maya's cracked phone showed 12:27 p.m. 3 minutes until the biggest decision of their careers was made by the woman their company had tried to humiliate out of existence. Richardson reached for his pen with hands shaking like earthquake victims. Where exactly do we sign? Maya smiled grimly, but her finger still hovered over the submission button. Her decision remained unannounced, and the balance of corporate power had shifted completely. Maya's finger remained poised over the tablet screen as Richardson's pen scratched across federal commitment documents. Each signature bound Meridian to reforms that would fundamentally reshape Wall Street's oldest boys' club. "Signed and notarized," Richardson said, sliding the documents across his mahogany desk. "Every requirement is accepted." Maya reviewed each page with the thoroughness of a federal prosecutor. Her cracked phone buzzed with updates from the lobby, Jennifer Walsh being escorted out by security, her personal items in a cardboard box, her Columbia law degree suddenly worthless in financial services. "Implementation begins immediately," Maya announced, her voice carrying the finality of a judge's gavel. "Jennifer Walsh is terminated for cause effective immediately. No severance, no references, no future employment in federal regulated financial institutions." She pressed send on her tablet. Within seconds, Jennifer's corporate access would be revoked, her stock options canceled, her career in Manhattan finance permanently ended. Patricia Stone faces a 30-day suspension without pay pending federal investigation. If cleared, she returns to mandatory bias training and probationary status for 18 months. Maya's next action sent shockwaves through Meridian's corporate structure. She opened the anonymous reporting app that would go live within hours, a direct pipeline for discrimination complaints that bypassed HR and connected straight to federal oversight. Her phone rang. Goldman Sterling CEO Jennifer Park's voice filled the speaker. "Maya, I've reviewed the reform commitments. Our board is prepared to proceed with conditional approval from the DOJ." "Conditional approval granted," Maya responded, her words worth $900 million. "Merger proceeds with full federal oversight." The relief in Richardson's office was palpable, but Maya wasn't finished reshaping their corporate future. "Your first chief diversity officer will be Angela Morris, former ACLU civil rights attorney. Salary, $275,000, plus performance bonuses tied to measurable diversity improvements. She starts Monday and reports directly to the Federal Oversight Board." Maya displayed Morris's credentials: Harvard Law, 15 years fighting discrimination cases, zero tolerance for corporate excuses. The executives realized they'd traded their discrimination problem for federal supervision. "The Victim Compensation Fund launches next week. $500,000 administered by former federal judges. Any Meridian employee who experienced discrimination in the past 3 years can file claims with guaranteed federal review." Sarah Hayes calculated the potential liability hundreds of employees might come forward now that federal protection existed. The financial impact could reach millions beyond the initial fund. Maya's tablet showed real-time results already emerging from her decision. Meridian's stock price had stabilized after the merger approval announcement, but trading remained volatile as investors processed the reform requirements. Quarterly diversity reports will be published on your website and submitted to Congress. Hiring demographics, promotion rates, pay equity analysis, employee satisfaction surveys, all public records with federal verification. She pulled up the implementation timeline that would govern Meridian's next 3 years. Month 1. Complete audit of all employees, contractors, and vendors. Month 2. New hiring protocols with federal oversight. Month 3. First diversity report published. Chang reviewed the legal implications with growing horror. "Ms. Johnson, this level of federal oversight is unprecedented for a private financial firm." "Mr. Chang, the level of discrimination documented at Meridian is unprecedented for a firm handling minority wealth," Maya replied. "Federal oversight matches the severity of institutional failures." Her phone displayed another message, this one from her daughter Zara. "Mom, the kids at school saw you on TV. You're a superhero. Can we celebrate with ice cream tonight?" Maya smiled genuinely for the first time that day. Her daughter would grow up in a world where federal investigators weren't mocked for their race or dismissed for their motherhood. The broader impact was already rippling through Manhattan's financial district. 34 investment firms had contacted their legal departments about updating discrimination policies. The Department of Justice had received 156 new bias complaints from Wall Street employees, emboldened by Maya's public victory. Your merged entity will employ 847 additional minority professionals within 18 months, Maya continued. Specific targets: 200 black women in senior positions, 150 Hispanic professionals across all departments, 100 Asian American executives in client-facing roles. She displayed the economic multiplier effect. These hires will manage approximately $2.3 billion in new minority-focused investment products, creating wealth-building opportunities for 45,000 families currently underserved by traditional Wall Street. Richardson nodded frantically, finally understanding that Maya's requirements weren't punishments, they were business opportunities disguised as social justice. Federal legislation is pending, the Corporate Character Assessment Act expansion. Your company will serve as the pilot program for enhanced oversight protocols that could become industry standard. Maya showed them the congressional calendar. Senator Elizabeth Warren's Banking Committee wants your CEO to testify about discrimination reform in private financial institutions, scheduled for next month. Stromberg's face went white. Congressional testimony meant national scrutiny, but refusing would trigger automatic merger cancellation. Maya's tablet chimed with a message from Treasury Secretary Johnson. Maya, Presidential Economic Briefing moved to 4 p.m. Your Meridian case study will be featured as a model for Wall Street reform. The single mother who'd been mocked as a welfare case was now briefing the President of the United States on financial discrimination reform. Implementation monitoring will be conducted by former federal judges appointed specifically to oversee Meridian's transformation. Monthly site visits, quarterly employee interviews, annual comprehensive audits. Maya stood, straightening the same black dress that had triggered such contempt 4 hours earlier. Your company has the opportunity to become a model for inclusive financial services. The alternative was bankruptcy and criminal charges. She gathered her documents with the precision of someone who'd just restructured American corporate culture. My final report goes to the Federal Trade Commission recommending conditional merger approval with the most comprehensive reform requirements in federal history. Richardson found his voice. Maya, how do we thank you for giving us this chance? Maya looked out his window at the protesters still gathered below, holding signs demanding justice. You thank me by ensuring that what happened in your lobby never happens to another single mother, another minority professional, another person who doesn't fit your aesthetic preferences. She picked up her cracked phone, the device that had been destroyed in contempt but had ultimately destroyed an entire system of discrimination. You thank me by remembering that the woman you tried to humiliate just saved 2,400 jobs while revolutionizing how Wall Street treats people who look like me. Maya's phone showed 1:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, she would brief the Federal Trade Commission on the largest corporate discrimination settlement in American financial history. The merger would proceed. The jobs would be saved. The reforms would be implemented. And Maya Johnson, single mother, federal investigator, and corporate revolutionary, would return home to celebrate her daughter's math test results and plan for a future where no child would watch their mother be humiliated for the color of their skin. Justice, it turned out, was best served with federal oversight and a $900 million merger hanging in the balance. The transformation of Wall Street had begun with a cracked phone and a single mother's quiet determination to ensure that respect wasn't negotiable, regardless of position or prejudice. 6 months later, Maya Johnson stood in the same marble lobby where she'd been humiliated, but everything had changed. The Maya Johnson Diversity Excellence Center plaque gleamed beside the reception desk where Jennifer Walsh once sat. Angela Morris, Meridian's chief diversity officer, greeted Maya with genuine warmth. Maya, our latest numbers: discrimination complaints down 78%, employee satisfaction up 45%, minority hiring increased 340%. You didn't just save a merger, you revolutionized an industry. Maya's phone buzzed with a text from 12-year-old Zara. Mom, Forbes magazine called you The single mother who changed Wall Street. Can we frame it? The personal transformation had been equally dramatic. Maya's promotion to deputy director at DOJ came with a $220,000 salary. Speaking engagements about corporate reform earned $25,000 per event. Publishers were bidding on her book, Quiet Power: How One Morning Changed Corporate America. But the real victory wasn't financial, it was systemic. 47 other single mothers now worked in Meridian's executive ranks. The Single Mothers in Finance LinkedIn group Maya founded had grown to 12,000 members across Wall Street. Her annual scholarship fund had helped 23 single mothers pursue law degrees. Maya's story had become a case study taught at Harvard Business School, Wharton, and Stanford. Corporate executives nationwide now understood that underestimating quiet competence could cost hundreds of millions. The broader legacy extended beyond Meridian. Federal discrimination investigations had increased 340% across financial services. Congress had passed the Corporate Character Assessment Act, making Maya's oversight protocols mandatory for all major mergers. Your turn to act. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your story below. Your experience could inspire the next corporate transformation. Tag someone who needs to see that professional excellence transcends prejudice and bias. Subscribe to Black Soul Stories for weekly accounts of strategic triumph over systemic discrimination. Your voice matters. Your story could spark the next revolution. Together, we're building workplaces where respect isn't negotiable and competence speaks louder than assumptions. Join the movement. Share this story. Change begins with one person refusing to accept the unacceptable.